So the time has finally come. Barbenheimer has finally hit theaters and passed. It's doing numbers at the box office. I had a chance to check out both films. Today, I'm going to give you my reviews of them. How I'm going to do this, I'm going to do Oppenheimer first, and then I'm going to do Barbie in that order. So before I do that, make sure you tell me down below, what did you guys think of the Barbenheimer double feature? Did it work together as a double feature? It did not. Anyways, did you like the movies? What were your opinions on each of the movies? Are they your favorites of the year? A lot of people are saying they're favorites of the year. Spoiler alert, they're not my favorites of the year. So, with that said, we're going to get started right now. Like I said, we're starting with Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. And a little bit of backstory for me. I'm not the biggest Nolan fan. I used to be. When I first started my channel, I used to be in this huge Nolan craze. I watched Inception 3 or 4 times a week. Seen Interstellar, loved Interstellar. Super excited for Tenet, Dark Knight Trilogy. All in Nolan's different things. But as time grew by and after I got over that phase, I never really wanted to watch the rest of his films. And this one, when I heard this one was coming out, I was like, I'm not sure what I think of this. Good to know that when the trailer came out, I still wasn't loving it, but every time I went to the theater, they played this trailer, and each time I got more and more excited for the movie. And so, eventually when it came out, I was super excited to watch this movie. I was more excited to watch this than I was to watch Barbie. And so when I saw Oppenheimer, I gotta say it's a pretty great Christopher Nolan movie. Starting off with the positives, this cast is freaking phenomenal. We got Cillian Murphy as J. Robert Oppenheimer, who is absolutely great. Cillian Murphy is coming up as one of my favorite actors. He's one of the most underrated actors in the world, that's for sure. But aside from Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr. is in this movie. At first I was like, he's kind of wasted here. When we get to the end, he's totally not wasted. He is used in every ounce of usage that they can get to him, and he's absolutely great. Love interest, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, I think they're both great. Florence Pugh had more time to shine in my opinion, but they were both absolutely phenomenal. Everybody in this movie was here. Matt Damon's even in this movie, and he does a great job in his role as well, even though he doesn't even really have that big of a part. So the cast is obviously great. This is a film made by a director who knows what he's doing, knows how to make a competent film, knows how to make a competent movie. And he knows what he's doing, and he gets in here, and he makes this be a competent movie, while also doing Nolan's time jump stuff, where we see other times of the future in the past. That's what he does here. And unlike Tenet, unlike unlike Inception, it's not very confusing. It's cohesive, and it works, and it's one of Nolan's, for me, more cohesive films. And I really respected that for that. That was really good. And overall, the terrors of this. He really shows what the terrors are. The whole world can be destroyed with the push of a button, and he really proves the weaknesses that the characters have. The fact that this is very true, and that he knows it's very true, and it's absolutely terrifying in that sense. And Nolan just does that so very well. And you feel the fear of, like, sitting here watching that, I was like, what if someone pressed the button now? The whole world would be in shambles. The apocalypse would come. Everything could just, all of a sudden, be so messed up. And it's terrifying to think of that. And Nolan really exploits it there. Also, another thing Nolan does really well in this movie is, every time the movie drags, he always finds a way to bring it back up. Right after they shot off the bomb, I thought it had like a half hour left. I was like, cool. It had like an hour and 10 minutes left. And I sat back, I was like, yeah, really needs to end. And it kind of pulled me back in eventually. Sitting there, I was like, yeah, this needs to end. But Nolan does his magic, and he makes the final hour be worth something and was entertaining to sit through. And for a movie that's 90% talking, I really think, and every time it dragged, he really had a way to pull you back in. Proves that he's a good storyteller who proved to tell a good story. This is one of his better films for me. I don't know, I've only seen 6, but this is currently number 4 on my list for him. So it's one of his better films. It's not his most entertaining, but it's one of his better films. And so overall, I do think Oppenheimer was a great film. I think Nolan does a great job here. Captures the fear, captures the essence, and also makes you invested in the story, invested in the characters. You like the cast here. It's very competent. Does that mean it's without issues? It has issues. That's what keeps it from being like one of my favorite films of the year. The big issue here is it is 3 hours. Like I said just a minute ago, Every time it started to drag, Nolan pulled you back in. Does that mean it didn't drag? No, it dragged quite a bit in some areas. Sometimes I sat there and, like, especially as we got to the end, I was like, you don't need to just keep rehashing the same thing over and over. And I felt to get kind of bored. And like I said, Nolan always pulled me back in, always made me invested in the story. But it's not without, sitting there and being bored for a couple of minutes, because I felt like they could have cut that out. Nolan really should have cut a bunch of things out. Didn't need to have all of this in the movie. This is not a movie that needed to be 3 hours long. And I respected it for that. I respected a lot of the things they did, but it definitely could have been shaved down and definitely could have made for a more entertaining experience for me. But overall, like I said, I do think this is one of Nolan's best films. I do think that it was an emotional and great journey for J. Robert Oppenheimer. And yeah, it's just a solid Nolan film. It's a solid biopic. Not one of my favorites of the year, but spoiler alert, it definitely wins the Barbenheimer double feature. But Oppenheimer, this is not Barbenheimer, this is Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is going to get a B+ from me. It's still a really good film. Definitely should have shaved a good 30 minutes to 45 minutes out of the film to make it more entertaining. Barbie time, and this is gonna make up a lot of time because it's a Barbie girl living in a Barbie world, and I don't know what to think of this. Filmed 4 days ago. I actually went twice on the same day. I went to see it, and then when I got home, my thoughts were so in shambles. My friends called me and said, hey, you want to go see Barbie? And I was like, sure. And my thoughts are still in the exact same place. This movie's an interesting one for me, because the most I can compare it to with my emotions and my feelings towards it is Godzilla vs. Kong. I was looking forward to the movie. I didn't think the trailers for this one were great, but they looked like they could have some charm. The trailers definitely looked like was not made for kids. It was made for a higher audience, which it was. But I went to the theater with an open mind. People were saying it was great. I walked into it, and my thoughts are still in shambles. My thoughts are still crazy, and I don't know what to think of them. In fact, I don't even know what I'm going to score it by the end of this, because this movie was just so bizarre in that way. With the positives, I mean, the movie is really entertaining. I was really entertained throughout the whole movie. There were some really solid jokes here. It was an easily watchable movie. Like I said, comparing back to Godzilla vs. Kong, that's an easily watchable movie. You can easily just sit there and watch it. Like I said, I watched it in 2 days, or I watched it twice in 1 day, and I didn't feel bored by the movie because it was entertaining. It was a solid, nice 2-hour film to just sit down and be entertained. The cast, absolutely phenomenal. Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Kingsley Ben-Adir is in this movie. John Cena makes a cameo. This cast is just great. All the Barbies and all the Kens, they all have cameos. Will Ferrell is in this movie. Ariana Greenblatt, they're all really good in this movie, and they all are really great with their roles, and they all have great chemistry with each other, and they're what makes up the movie. Margot Robbie is phenomenal because she's the perfect Barbie, and she has her emotional moments throughout the movie. Ken, absolutely great. Ryan Gosling is one of the top tier actors. He's great in the movie, but he also has his emotional moments throughout the movie. And like, even going in here, Kingsley Ben-Adir, everybody else, Kingsley Ben-Adir, Sarah, were absolutely big in this movie and were absolutely phenomenal, and I loved both of them, and they both were awesome as side characters. You even get the emotions with Michael Cera in this, and he's a side character. And that's really good, and the cast is just absolutely great. And like I said, the movie's really funny, mainly because the cast is able to carry and have great chemistry with each other. There's also some emotional moments that really could resonate with me. Number one, Barbie has some beautiful scenes as she's in the world and she's thinking about real world and being a human. That's emotional. Ken, in the movie, is like, gets some really emotional parts in the end. Like, in the end, it's just like, he learns that he can be Ken and not reliant on a girl. That can be really emotional to some people, and it's just, those are the things that make this movie so controversial for me, because all the stuff I hate about this movie, it's matched up by things I love. The emotions, and some emotions were really well done, and I think they were great, and the cast is great, and it's just an entertaining movie. The set design and score is absolutely fantastic, and I just want to keep talking about that. But then we go on to the negatives, and the negatives have so much to talk about. It's even like not even really negatives. It's mixed, and I don't really know what to think about this. And the thing is, this is a movie about Barbie, right? A little girl's toy. Made this movie for middle-aged women, middle-aged men, middle-aged like adults. They made it for adults. Like, the only thing even resonant for a kid is, like, this teen has troubles with her mom and figures it out by the end. And it's made for little girls. And, like, it's so forceful and so in your face that when you get the genuine emotions, like Ken and all those emotions that he learns that he doesn't have to be the person who's always with Barbie, he can just be the Ken, then it doesn't feel that well because all the other emotions are so shoved in your face, and that one's so shoved in your face, and the representation of the messages over time I thought was very bizarre. Number one, we have so many emotions here. It doesn't really feel crowded. It feels like they're the emotions that they could have done in here if it was executed right. But we have the ones where middle-aged woman starts playing with the Barbie, and that's what makes her go through the mental psychosis kind of stuff, and like her emotions of being the woman, and Barbie's and feminism emotions, and for women. I could get why middle-aged women would love this movie. I get why a lot of them do love the movie, but like it's really not for me. But it's just like so executed, so weird, and it's just so weird why these are the things that we would do, and it's so forceful. Like, if your movie, in the first 10 minutes of your movie, has a Barbie going, I wrote this essay on my own because I'm a woman and I can articulate thoughts and don't have to have anyone do them for me. That is a real line in the first 10 minutes of the movie. If you sit back and you watch this movie, you'll think, this is the movie we're watching, this is the movie we're about to go through. And it's that kind of movie that's just so forceful in your face and shoves feminism and all that down your throat, that the genuine emotions, there could have been genuine emotions about these, but there's literally a part where a woman stands up and says, yeah, we're women, so we have to do this and this and this and this, and it's a powerful moment for middle-aged women, but it's like it could have been represented in a different way and didn't have to be so forceful. And for a movie about Barb, a young girl's toy, to be about this powerful and forceful in the messages that had great ideas here, but to be so forceful in your face, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of things I absolutely loved about the movie. The cast, the score, the set design, the characters. It had some really genuine emotional moments, and it's very funny, and it's easily watchable. I would watch this again if someone said it, but just constantly thinking back to it, I'm like, why did you have to make these decisions? And it makes for a very bizarre experience to where you're enjoying it one moment, and the next moment you're getting a lecture by something about feminism. And it's just a very bizarre experience to watch in the movie. I would watch it again. It keeps switching places on my ranking. As of now, it's on 29. It was like 5 spaces up higher. Do I think it's a good movie? I think it's a mediocre movie. I don't really know what to think. It's the most controversial movie of the year so far for me. And, like I said, still loved a lot of things about it, but, like, why'd we have to go this route? There could have been represented in a completely different way and made a much more entertaining experience. So, Barbie, I don't want to give it a C+, that's too low. I don't want to give it a B, that's too high. Don't want to give it a B- because that's too low, but that's also too high. I'm going to give it a B-. Barbie's getting a B-. That's what I'm going to have to give this movie. My brain is still in shambles after this movie. This is the most controversial movie of the year for me. I liked a lot of things about it, but I mean, Barbenheimer double feature. Who wins? Oppenheimer. Easy. Easy. Oppenheimer easily clears this one. Who's going to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Meg double feature? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles released today as I'm filming this, and I want to go see it. I'll go see it as soon as I can. Meg 2, want to go see it. Secret Invasion ended. That will be the next video. It's talking about how much I love Secret Invasion, because I really did, but the ending is very disappointing. If you're watching my shorts, you know I love that show. Anyways, thank you guys for clicking on this video. I got a whole bunch of videos coming up. July ranking, like I said, Secret Invasion, Marvel TV shows ranked. A whole bunch of videos coming up. With that said, subscribe, join the Nerd Army. Peace out.